Hello and welcome to Vision Economics Academy. Have you ever wondered how a country calculates the total income earned by its people? How do we measure the money flowing through businesses, salaries, and even farmers' earnings? One way to measure this is the income method, a simple yet powerful approach that sums up all the earnings in an economy. In this video, we'll break down the income method of measuring national income step by step. We will be covering the key components, that is wages, rent, interest and profit, the formula and how to apply it, the real world examples to make it super easy to understand. So stay tuned, and by the end of this video, you'll master the income method like a pro. Let's get started. According to this method, all the incomes that is paid to the factors of production by way of wages, rent, profit and interest are summed up to obtain the national income. So whatever income is paid, right, to the factors of production for its factor services, all these are summed up and obtained the national income. So we can also say is the sum total of money earned by the factors of production, both individuals or businesses. Okay. Now, what all comes under the income method? So the first and the foremost component is the compensation of employees. Now, what is compensation of employees? Okay. Now, compensation of employees is the sum total of remuneration that is paid to the employees by employers for rendering productive services. So, the employees of a firm, whatever they receive as a remuneration for their productive activity, okay, is the compensation of employees. Now, what all is included under compensation of employees? The first and foremost is the wages and salaries in cash. So whatever remuneration is paid to the employees by way of cash, by way of salaries and wages, right? All these monetary benefits like wages, salaries, bonus, etc. all these are included under wages and salaries in cash. Okay. So it includes monetary benefit such as wages, salaries, bonus, etc. Okay. Now, what all are not included in compensation of employees? So what all is not included? For example, the travel and accommodation expenses. So if an employee travels for work, costs like airfare for an employee who has gone for work, hotel stays, meals covered in it, all these are not a part of the compensation of employees, as it is treated as intermediate cost for the firm. Okay. Now the next component within compensation of employees is wages and salaries in kind. Now, this is not the monetary benefit. Okay. What all is included under wages and salaries in kind? All those non-monetary benefits like rent-free home, free medical, or healthcare, etc. All these are included in your wages and salaries in kind. However, the uniform that is worn during the work or the vehicle that is used for work purpose only are not included in the wages and salaries in kind. Again, that will come under the intermediate cost. Now the last one, under compensation of employees, is your employer's contribution to social security schemes. Right? So it includes whatever the contribution is made by the employer, not employee. So all the provident fund, right? Social security schemes like provident fund, gratuity, etc. The contribution made by the employer, okay, is included, but the compensation made by employee from within his or her salary or income is not included, right? So we must note these points. Now the second component is rent and royalty. Rent refers to the income earned by the owners for lending their services such as land, building, etc. We all have heard about this word, right? I don't think I need to elaborate on that. The next is royalty. Now what is royalty? Now royalty is the income earned by a person or an institution for lending their intellectual property. Now what do you mean by this? Okay. Also, rights of subsoil asset is also included. Now, for example, a cloth company wants to start its t-shirt manufacturing by using a logo of a certain brand. Then that particular company has to pay the royalty. If anyone wants to remix the song, has to pay the owner of that recordings, or that old musicians, it's royalty, right? So royalty is for lending intellectual property rights. Somebody might use some famous personality's name in the movie, and they also need to pay the royalty. The songs of musicians that is played in different clubs, the clubs are earning from it, so they have to pay the royalty to the musicians as well. Now, what is rights of subsoil asset? Now, rights of subsoil asset means the right which has the legal ownership and control over the natural resources found beneath the earth's surface. So it refers to the legal ownership and control over the natural resources found beneath the earth's surface, such as minerals, okay, oil and natural gas, okay, precious metals and stones. So all this come under the category of rights of subsoil asset. All right. So these rights determine who can extract, use or sell these resources, whether it is government, private companies or individuals. So these are the rights that determines as to who has the right to extract the resources. The third component is interest. What is interest? Interest is the amount that is received for lending funds to a productive unit. Suppose a bank lends money to a firm uses that money, earns profit and returns back the money, right, along with interest. Now that interest is the earning of the bank, right? Along with the principal amount, the firms also return the interest, which is an extra earning for the bank. So that also comes under the component of national income. The next one is the profit. Now we all know what profit is. Profit is the income earned by an entrepreneur for organizing resources, land, labor, capital, organize, etc., and taking risk to produce the goods and services. So profit is the reward, or it's the income earned by an entrepreneur, right, for all the work that he does in organizing all the resources, right, and making products. Now the last factor is, or the last component is, the mixed income. Now, what is mixed income? It refers to the earnings of own account workers and unincorporated enterprises. Now these are the big words. Now I'll explain you what it is. Own account workers means self-employed workers, right? Okay, and unincorporated enterprises means small businesses. Okay, small businesses that are not legally separate from their owners, that is the unincorporated enterprises. Why is it called mixed? So that's a question, why it's called mixed. It's called mixed income because it includes both the labor income and the capital income. Okay, so labor income would mean earnings from owners' work, like wages, plus capital income means the profit from using their own resources, like giving it for rent, interest, businesses, etc. For example, a shopkeeper earns from selling goods, okay, that is the profit, earns profit by selling goods, and also works in the shop. So he sells goods, works in some shops, that is the labor. Okay, so he makes profit, he receives wages also. So there is a combination of both labor earnings and capital earnings, right? Now since all this has to be separated, in their wages and profit, the earnings as classified as mixed income. So it is a mixture of wages and profit. Okay, so that's the mixed income of national income accounting. Now what we'll come across here is the operating surplus. Operating surplus, sometimes they will ask us to specifically find operating surplus. Then operating surplus would be the addition of rent and royalty plus interest plus profit. All these three or four added together would give us the operating surplus, right? We will be more clear as we do the numericals on it. Now, components of income method we have all discussed, right? Let me just sum it up. Compensation of employees. Now this is an important part of the chapter where I will discuss the components in a nutshell and make this chart over here, which would help you during the numericals, solving the numericals. Compensation of employees, which includes wages and salaries in cash, wages and salaries in kind, and employers' contribution to social security scheme. Okay. Then another part is rent and royalty. We all know what is included in this. Then comes the interest, right? Then the mixed income, profit, and the mixed income of self-employed. Now, what all comes under profit? Sometimes the profit would not be directly given. So, in the question you might find word like corporate tax, dividend, then retained earnings. All these are part of profit only. Okay, if profit is not given, sometimes all these three are given, you add this. Sometimes only two are given, you add these two, whatever is available. Okay, all right. Sometimes the question asks us to find the operating surplus. Operating surplus we have already discussed. It is profit plus rent and royalty plus interest. Now, solving the numericals would be very exciting. Now, sometimes the question will ask you to find compensation of employees rather than finding the national income or NDPFC or GDPFC. At that time, what would we do? The national income value will be given either in the form of GDP or NDPFC, anything. Then we have to equate with compensation of employees plus operating surplus, that is profit, rent and royalty plus interest, all this thing included, plus mixed income, right? So we get NDPFC from it. Now, from NDPFC, if you remember in the previous classes, I have taught you how to get the national income. So from NDPFC to get NNPFC, we have to add NFI, that is net factor income from abroad, right? So we also add NFIA in order to find the national income, right? Now let us calculate the national income by income method, which will help us to understand the income method even more, right? Now the question asks us to find the national income. National income is nothing but NNPFC. The components, all these components of the national income will give us NDPFC. Now how to get NNPFC from NDPFC, all this has been discussed. I will put the link in the description below of my previous video. NDPFC minus NN plus NFIA. So this is domestic. From domestic to national is we add the net factor product from abroad, income from abroad, sorry. Now what all we can include here is NDPFC. First we'll find this compensation of employees plus wages and salaries in kind, which is already included in this, so we'll not include it here. Operating surplus, which is rent, royalty, profit, interest, mixed income of self-employed, and net factor, that we can add later on. So first we'll find the NDPFC. NDPFC equals to compensation of employees is 13,300 plus operating surplus is readily given 5,000 plus mixed income of self-employee is 16,100. Okay, so that would give us rupees 3,400 crores. Okay, now we have to find NNPFC. So NNPFC is NDPFC plus NFIA. So NDPFC is 34,400, right? Okay, plus net factor income from abroad is 300, sorry. So we add these two, we get 34,700 only as the answer. Okay, so this is the way we have to find the national income. Therefore, the national income of the country is 34,700 crores. So this much for today. I will be coming up with another video of expenditure method. Till then, be safe. We will also be doing a lot of numericals. We will be solving it. So those who are having some doubts, we can go to the previous section, previous videos also, for which I will provide the link that is related to this chapter. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.